It's ridiculous, unbelievable. Ashley was blushing and almost yelling at me. Spend $1 for a cup of coffee at Speedway. You guys charged me $35. And a hamburger at McDonald's, you charged me another $35. It's insane. Ashley is a college freshman in IU and has a part-time job at a clothing store. She thought she had $185 in her checking account, so she brought a coffee and a hamburger. But what happened was, at the same day, her car loan automatic monthly payment $165 and gas charge for her fill up her tank 3 days ago hit her account, set her 3 overdraft fees. In bank's term, it also called non-sufficient funds, NSF fees, total $105. As a teller, I have angry customers like her every week. I totally understood her frustration and I felt sympathy on her. One might say people who don't pay attention on their accounts should be charged if you use more than they have in their accounts. It is true, and I agree that banks should charge NSF fees. But my main point of view here is, while there's understandable reason for bank charge NSF fees, banks should reform some of NSF fee policy, of which due to fee maximization and weak disclosure and overly charged fee, to be ethical and reasonable. There are understandable reasons that banks should charge NSF fees. Fees have been around for years. First and foremost, banks are business. Just like any other business in the world, they are there to make a profit. Also, to process each transaction that goes through a bank each day, it takes 3 people in your bank, 3 in another bank involved, and employees in Federal Reserve. Returned NSF checks have to be taken by carriers and or electronic transferred for protecting customers' account information. And the cost doesn't come from paying the employee salaries. If you overdraw your account, the bank also is charged something too, because now they have to use their fund to cover you. Plus, bank doesn't know if you will pay the overdraft or you just run away. It is personal responsibility when you write check or use your debit card. You should know how much in your account, and don't pass the buck when you spend more than you have. Banks also offer customer overdraft protection options, as well as accounts monitoring service. You can track your balance and transaction online, by phone, and at ATM 24 hours a day. Remember though, those balance, they won't reflect the transaction you authorized but have not been processed by bank. So here's the better way to check, keep track your balance. It is so-called transaction register. It is for you, you can record the check number and the transaction code, data, and the description of the transaction into these pre-designed tables. It is very easy to use. It also suggests you say AP instead stands for automatic payment. ATM is for cash withdrawal, etc. So here you go. You surely can avoid overdraft fees if you pay attention to your account. Don't you think people should be responsible for their overdrawing, not banks? If there's overdraft, if there's bank error, there will be a refund. Banks' NSF fee is not totally without merit because the fees allows bank to offer free checking service to many customers, and the fees also warn the customer pay sufficient attention to their own finances. However, some practice of banks' NSF fee policy is much more for banks' revenue than for customers' well-being. One of these practices aims to fee maximization. The reason why I actually get 3 overdraft fee is a good example here. At bank's daily clearing transaction clearing house, banks clears the daily transaction in order of highest to lowest instead of the upsize order. Most banks do the same practice, although they explain that the larger payment are likely more important ones. It is something true, but frequently not. That's back to Ashley. So banks deducted $165 car loan from her account first, left her $20 in balance, not enough to cover gas, coffee, and hamburger. But if bank did the upsize order, she would only be charged 1 NSF fees. I think the practice of clearing larger payment first and forcing additional charges is really unethical. Don't you think so? And another practice is weak disclosure. According to Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation released last year,